Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing an easy moussaka recipe that's perfect for beginners. So here I have my non-stick pan. I'm just adding my olive oil to the pan and my onions, and from there I'm going to add my 2 cloves of garlic and the meat. So what we want to do is we want to cook this until everything is well combined and cooked through. And we want to be left with at least 2 to 3 tablespoons of that meat juice in the pan. So we don't want this completely dry when we're done cooking it. And our next step is going to be to take our chicken stock, add it to the meat, our tomato sauce. Now I'm using just canned regular tomato sauce with a little bit of sea salt in it. It's up to you. If you don't have that on stock, you have some, regular marinara sauce in your fridge, you can use that. And then I'm going to be taking some tomato paste and I'm going to add some squirts of tomato paste into my meat. Now it's up to you. If you don't have that on hand, you can use Avad. I typically do use Avad for this recipe when I'm adding peppers to my moussaka, but I wanted to do just a basic moussaka recipe that involves potatoes, meat, and the sauce. So it's up to you. If you don't have the paste on hand, you're more than welcome to do Avad, and you can make it your own. That's what's so great about this recipe is you can add mushrooms, you can add more onions, you can add peppers, whatever you like to make this recipe your own. I'm just showing you a basic moussaka recipe for beginners. You're going to let that simmer for a couple minutes, and the most important step, please try your meat, see if it needs more salt, more pepper, any more seasonings before you proceed to the next step. It's very important to try everything as you go. The last step that I do, and this is totally optional, I do a little bit of oregano and I do a little bit of thyme and I add it to my meat. Again, this is an optional part to the dish, but I think it gives it a lot of flavor. Now it's time to assemble the moussaka. It's a very simple concept. Just like lasagna, we're layering the potatoes, meat, until we've used up all of our ingredients. Once I get to my second layer of the potatoes, I like to just take a little bit of ground pepper and a touch of salt, and I like to add it to that layer of potatoes. I don't do it with the bottom layer and I don't do it with the top layer because that meat is already very seasoned, and I don't want this to be overpowering. I don't want it to be too salty or too peppery. Once I've used up all of my ingredients, I'm then going to cover this with some foil. Bake for about 30 minutes until the potatoes are nice and soft. So when it comes to the sauce that goes on top, this isn't the traditional way, and I'm going to tell you why I don't do the traditional way. Here I'm doing sour cream, heavy cream, eggs, and I'm using Gouda cheese and some salt and pepper. The reason I don't do the traditional way is because I find that the sour cream and the eggs, when combined on top of that moussaka, it's just too bitter because of that sour cream. So by adding the heavy cream, we're getting that creaminess, and we're adding that cheese, we're getting a little bit of that saltiness. It's a perfect consistency to go on top of the moussaka. And you don't have to use the cheese that I'm using in this recipe. That's just what I had on hand. You can use mozzarella, you can even use pepper jack if you like a little spiciness. Make it your own, but the cheese really does give it a nice flavor and a nice texture to the topping. After about 30 minutes, my potatoes have been cooked through. I just poked it with a fork to see, and everything is coming together very nicely. So let's assemble the rest of the moussaka. Here I'm just adding that topping that we made before, that sauce. I'm just going to evenly spread it out throughout my whole moussaka. In the meantime, I'm also going to preheat my oven at 450 degrees, and I'm going to bake this until golden brown. It's also optional. I did a little bit of decorating to the top of the moussaka. I added some dried tomato pieces to the top. But if you're going to do that, I recommend doing it towards the end, the very last thing, maybe when the moussaka comes out, because they actually burn. So I had to pick through the moussaka to get those out, and then I just added some new ones at the end. So this is the completed moussaka after me burning my fingers off trying to get those burnt pieces of tomato off of the moussaka. This is what it looks like. My house smells amazing. It looks absolutely delicious. I do recommend leaving this out for 15 minutes. Do not cut it right away because everything is still bubbling and you don't want to burn your fingers like I did before. So this is the completed moussaka. I absolutely love this recipe. It's a perfect recipe also to make ahead of time if you're having company over or if you need something for the weekday when you're stuck at the office for late hours. I do recommend baking this without the sauce first, letting it cool on your counter, and then you can put it in your fridge. And when you're ready to bake this, just make the sauce on top and bake it again at 450 until golden brown. I don't recommend making this with the sauce on top and then reheating it because of that heavy cream and the sour cream. It won't come out the same. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment below. I'll see you guys next time.